Welcome to the Sub Hub Podcast. I'm Danny Moreno.
And I'm MK Sullivan. And today we sat down with race directors Steve White and Tom Hooper from Cirque Series. I mean, we found out that Tom Hooper is basically like America's race director, but we focused on Cirque Series for this episode because they just added 2 new races to their already exciting schedule. And we just wanted to give you guys kind of the rundown of what Cirque Series looks like this year.
Yes, and if you have never heard of Cirque Series before, they give a great just like overview of the distance of races, how many races there are, what makes each race special. And like MK said, we definitely dive into those new additions with J Peak and Mount Baldy, which is really, really exciting. And yeah, they also are, doing like a point system. They offer awards for 3 different categories, which we're huge fans of, and just the overall vibes around Cirque Series. So yeah, if you guys want to check them out beyond the podcast, they do have an Instagram as well as a website where you can dive into all the details, potentially even register for a race. But yeah, we just think they're awesome, fun, approachable distance of races. So excited to share it with you all.
Yeah, make sure you check it out. But before we get to that episode, we got to give a big shout out to Never Second. My Never Second story of the week is that I was inspired by Danny and I went and biked outside, which I gotta tell you, I did not love as much as honestly just watching Netflix, but I ate my first gels since like probably February. I don't know. Like
Dang!
last year, yeah. I had a couple C30 orange flavored, which is my favorite C30 gel. And I was like, wow, am I like an athlete again? I'm eating gels and not just like drinking sugar water on occasion. So, yeah, that was an exciting moment of my week.
It is a pretty exciting moment when you get back to, yeah, just having the gels more regularly. But yeah, which flavors did you have on the ride?
Just orange. Yeah,
Cool.
that's my main squeeze. Citrus is a close second though.
Yeah, no, orange is definitely, I think it's probably my top with passion fruit. But if you guys want to check out Never Second, if you are also getting out now in the outdoors, your cross training isn't just limited to the inside. Consider using our code SUBHUB25 at never2.com. And kind of a great tangent, they also have the S200, which is really great for heavy sweaters. And if you guys haven't listened to it already, go check out our episode with H Drop co-founder Adria. I absolutely loved that episode. He was obviously being a co-founder, just a man full of a lot of great information for everybody. And essentially, what H Drop is it's a wearable device that you wear on your arm or on your chest. That links to an app on your phone, and it tells you your sweat loss rate depending on kind of like the outside temperature as well as your skin temperature. And so I used this last year, my build up to Broken Arrow. Absolutely loved it. I think it is like one of the top innovation items in our space of recency. So yeah, you guys should definitely check out that episode.
Yes, and if you have not seen it on our Instagram, we are doing a giveaway as well with H Drop. I'm just double checking these dates here, but we started on February 27th. It will close down on March 13th, and we will announce the winner on March 16th. So make sure you guys go to our Instagram. You have to like the post, you have to follow us on Instagram and H Drop, and you have to tag a friend in the comments. So if you're interested in figuring out more about just your sweat profile, your data kind of on a daily basis, like go check that out, enter yourself in the giveaway.
Yes, and then also while you're entering the giveaway, consider getting one, whether it's for yourself or somebody else, maybe a loved one who is suddenly taking a huge liking to ultras. As we say in the podcast, it's just like a huge safety tool as well. So if you click the link in our show notes, you can get 10% off of the device. And yeah, and you help the pod in the how do I say that? In the process. And then also, we're not, wow, I can't talk, guys. The
That's okay.
device is like $250. And so with 10% off, that's $25 off. So, at first glance, you're like, oh, it's only 10%. No, it's a good chunk off. So consider checking it out.
Yeah, Absolutely. And enjoy this episode with Steve White and Tom Hooper. All right, we have Tom Hooper and Steve White here with us today, race directors for Cirque Series events around, I was going to say the globe, but around the country. Welcome to the SubHub podcast. Tom, we've had you on before, but Steve, this is your first time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm super excited to be here, chat with this group. Long time listener, first time participant, if you want to call it that. But
Love
yeah,
it.
stoked to be here.
Nice. Well, let's hear it from the horse's mouth. Let's start with you, Steve. What is, explain your position within Cirque Series for the audience.
Yeah, so my formal title is race director. I kind of co-direct, if you will, the races that are here on the West Coast with Julian Carr. And this year we have 7 races out here, so it's a pretty full schedule for me personally, in addition to Julian. But yeah, through the months of June through now, the beginning of October, we're pretty full on putting these events on, and the rest of the year we're just working to plan and make sure that we can execute these at the highest level. So yeah, that's kind of what I do.
How long have you been with Cirque Series? Have you been there since the beginning with Julian?
I actually haven't. So I worked as just kind of a seasonal staff member 2 years ago. Fresh out of college, I actually just had dropped out of grad school. Wasn't feeling super excited about what I was doing in grad school anymore, and had some life changes that came up that kind of facilitated a transition. And I was just kind of looking for something to do for the summer. Knew I was passionate about trail running and mountain running, and it's a space that I've been relatively involved in since my early 20s. But yeah, I reached out to Julian, worked for him for the summer, and then last year as he had his first kid, I'm just looking to hand things off, be a little less involved, and have a bit more support from somebody on the back end of things. He decided that maybe I fit the bill. I don't know. So here I am. But yeah, it's been awesome.
That's awesome. I'm a big fan of organizations promoting from within. So congrats. It sounds like that's been a huge opportunity for you. And Tom, you're basically a Hall of Famer on the SubHub podcast by now with how many times we've had you on. But what is your relationship to Cirque Series specifically? Because obviously we know you're the mastermind behind 603. But yeah, your relationship with Cirque specifically.
Yeah, I mean, it started 2 years ago when we were doing the selection process for USATF for the selection races, and there was some talk that they wanted more West Coast for the classic and vertical for the East Coast. So we basically reached out, to Julian to see if he wanted to do it. He denied. He was like, "No, it's too expensive. It's this," and he was a little confused on how it worked. And so I ended up doing the paperwork basically for him. I'm like, "Listen, let's just do this," and that's how we kind of became friends. And then when Snowbird was the championship, I went out, ran the race, had a great time just to see the event and what kind of a spectacle, and his post-race shenanigans. It's fantastic. And I think over an adult beverage, he's like, "I really want to start some races in the Northeast. Do you have the bandwidth to help?" And I was like, "Absolutely." So it kind of grew from there.
That's perfect. Well, we're stoked to see the Cirque Series just continue to expand because we're huge fans of the races, but also just the idea behind it. And we'll get to kind of some newer stuff here in a second. But I guess my first question, and either of you can take this on, would be for people who don't know what Cirque Series is, just give us a little bit of a rundown of why it is a race series that people should look into.
Yeah, I mean, I can go. I'll take this one, Tom, if that's okay.
By all means.
Why should you be interested? Because our courses are some of the best courses in the United States, if not the world. I think that we truly have some of the premier locations of any event here in the United States, especially when you consider our course in Alaska. I mean, there's not very many races in the world that are able to produce events in locations such as that. But what defines us, I mean, really or what are you getting into, I guess, is basically we were born from this idea of wanting to summit peaks in the most efficient way and getting back down to the bottom where a party is waiting for you at the bottom, and to not be totally cooked and you can hang out. You're not running for in excess of 6 hours. You're just you get to run the course. It's less than 10 miles, relatively short. So you get to just kind of hang out with friends, meet new people, interact with the pros are interacting with sub-elites, and it's just a really cool environment. So, yeah.
It's very obtainable. I mean, that's the basic thing. I mean, that's why you see such a high participation rate. It's going to be the hardest thing you ever do, but you'll be fine tomorrow. It's not, this is like the epitome of sub hub, right? It's sub ultra. It's not going to crush you. You don't need to be out training, putting in 100-mile weeks. This is, you can be a weekend warrior and have an absolute blast.
Yeah. One of the words I wrote down while both of you were speaking was approachable. That's like a big reason why we started the SubHub podcast, was to get more visibility on short trail races, and that people, especially in the United States, I would say more place than other places, like trail running is synonymous with like 100-milers or now 200-milers, and that's what they get fed, is like that's what trail running is. But really you can have the Cirque series, where we promote it all the time because we love it. And it's also in locations that you can get to. It's not quite the extremism of sky running as well, which, if that's your cup of tea. But Cirque series is like, it really is that balance of both worlds. It's like, it's an approachable distance and you still get that little taste of adventure and adrenaline. And there's a great party like scene around it, just like great culture and stuff. So yeah, we're huge fans of the Cirque series. As far as like new changes that have been made, because this series has been around for 4 years now, roughly. How long has it been?
Since 2015.
Wow. Okay. Time flies by. I feel like definitely more races have been adding post COVID. But that makes sense because I've been in the sport since 2017, and it was definitely something I had heard about earlier on. But since then, let's just focus on the most recent evolution. What new races are being added and why? Steve, I'll let you take this on first, and then we'll follow up with Tom.
Yeah, so on the West Coast this year, we're super excited to announce the addition of a race in Southern California at Mount Baldy. It's a region that we have never tapped into before. Really, one of the biggest reasons to go there is, one, it's an incredible location, and two, it's a market that we are very interested in and engaging with, a community that seems pretty incredible. And just some of the conversations that I've had in the past couple of weeks with local members of the run community down there, I mean, I'm just so excited to be there. It should be awesome. But yeah, that's going to be at the beginning of October 3rd. But yeah, excited to be down there.
I mean, Mount Baldy's kind of like an iconic race destination. They used to have that like all uphill race. I don't know, do they still have that? Or are you guys kind of like taking over? Because I feel like it's had a couple iterations in the last couple of years.
Yeah, they still have that event. There's actually, if I'm not mistaken, there's 2 events that are existing and will continue to exist at the resort. And we've kind of been working with the ski resort. They're excited about promoting their own kind of series, if you will, for all the events that are going to be going on at Mount Baldy for the summer, where if you participate in each of them, they're thinking about throwing up some sort of, I don't know what to call it yet, just because it's not set in stone and I don't want to lead anybody astray, but an award, if you will. I don't know what that looks like, but I mean, we're definitely not trying to compete with those races that already exist. I think that we can coexist and in a lot of ways promote each other's events. I mean, that's one of the things that we did with Tom even this past year, moving out to the East Coast, putting on events that are on back-to-back weekends and promoting both of them, and just trying to maximizing the number of people that can come out to those things and experience the sub-ultra racing scene. So I don't know. I mean, maybe there's some people that will have beef, but at the end of the day, we're doing it because we think that all these things can coexist, and by doing so, we're elevating the sport in a better way. So
I think it's awesome because I think that Southern California is one of those places that has like some of the most incredible trails I've ever run in my life, but there's like 3 races down there. So I think the more, opportunities that there are to build that community, I'm sure Danny can attest to this growing up in, LA, like I'm all in. I've had no beef for several races on Mount Baldy.
Yeah. And also just like, yeah, growing up in the LA area, on a clear day, seeing the beautiful mountains, often covered in snow, or just seeing them like from, my playground where recess was, like I was always curious. And as if you create events, it gets people more willing to go out and actually see the Los Angeles mountains, which are just absolutely stunning. Like they're their own set of majesticness. And most people know about like the Angel's Crest and a couple of the ultras that go on there. And big shout out to SoCal Trail. Like they do an incredible job of races in the SoCal area as well. But yeah, just getting people to explore more out there. I think that'll be really cool. Especially with Mount Baldy. Like it's a pretty high mountain and people don't realize that who live in LA, that it's very high altitude out there. So that'll be super cool. Kind of transitioning to the new edition on the East Coast as well. At this point, I've been looking at all the East Coast races. I was like, I just need to live out there this summer because there's so many bangers getting added to this list. But Tom, if you could introduce the Great Jay Peak, which has now been added to the Cirque series.
Yeah, on the Canadian border, Jay Peak, September 27th. To go to the approachability thing, 7.1 miles, 3,000 feet of vert. But you can't get any closer to Canada. When you pull in the parking lot, your phone actually goes into Canada mode. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So yeah, it's a super technical northern Vermont trail. So yeah.
And I guess compared to like the other Cirque Series races that were added kind of just last year, like how would you, I guess, compare them to Cannon and Killington?
Yeah, I think every mountain's a little different. I mean, just, Cannon has, the Kinsman Trail, which is, super famous, really technical, really steep. That's in the beginning with a pretty tough descent. Killington is just a really hard climb and then a really fast, flowy descent. I think this is going to be somewhere in the middle, but you actually get to run a little bit on the long trail near the summit. So it's going to be neat.
Of all the East Coast Cirque Series races, which one would you say is the most technical? Cannon. Nice.
Yeah. Cannon's up is legit.
It's so cool.
I think I saw some clips of this one last year. Like it's really like you're on all fours at a good portion of the time, and it's like quite rock slabs and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I some of our races are really hard to photograph because the photography guys can't get into it. So I think you don't see the toughest parts of races like Cannon. Like that Kinsman Trail is just, it's tough to get in there.
That's awesome. So so now the Cirque Series, as of today, has 9 races. Something that we are curious about that we haven't seen quite yet, just kind of looking at, because it's really cool that Cirque Series has kind of like 3 prize categories that people can kind of self-elect. themselves into. I'm sure it is potentially shunned upon if a professional runner puts them in any other category besides professional. But we were curious because it's obviously expanding. Like, are there any plans for a more formal, like, points ranking system? It's just something we couldn't find on the website.
Yeah, I can speak to this one a little bit. Sorry, this cat's kind of going crazy.
That's okay.
It's
You
not
got
even
the
my
cat.
cat.
We got cats and babies. We're in it.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it, and it's something that we're trying to figure out. I know in the past, and some people have pitched this idea to us as well, is to create an independent East and West series, which culminates in some sort of final where you have East versus West. And I think in theory,
Biggie versus Tupac.
yeah, in theory, it's a really cool idea, but when you get down to the logistics, it becomes a bit more challenging to actually execute something like that. What we do, and we would like to pursue this, is just to minimize. I mean, right now, the way you acquire points is just on a race-by-race basis, and there's no, like, it's not like your top 3 or top 5 results are the only results that are contributing to your overall score. It's just as many races as you compete at, you can gain points. And so, I mean, like last year, for example, the person who ended up winning the overall series, he raced every single race. And if I'm not mistaken, did he end up on any podiums last year, Tom? In the pro category? I don't think he did.
I don't think he did.
And I mean, it's incredible that he was able to travel with us, but at the same time, we also want to, like, give credit to the pros that show up and are consistently at the top of the podium. They just don't have the ability to travel to 10 races, and last year 8 races. And so, I mean, they shouldn't be punished for not being able to do that. We don't have the expectation that professionals are doing that. But so see, I mean, we're also considering a final, if you will, years into the future. We're just still trying to brainstorm and figure out what that exactly looks like. But for now, we're just trying to figure out, how many races should apply towards your overall score.
Yeah, because right now, like, if you made A Basin kind of like more East Coast, I guess you could say you're like 4 versus 6 in terms of like East versus West, but A Basin is still pretty much West. But I like that idea. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it
Oh
could
yeah,
be pretty cool. Logistically, it's quite challenging when you consider prizes
yeah.
and travel and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, we're figuring it out, and we're open to input from people within the community. If anybody has ideas, I'd be happy to chat with them about it and see what we can come up with that's best for the professionals and just the community at large. So yeah.
Gotcha.
And
Oh, go ahead,
I was
MK.
just gonna ask, do you guys try to like recruit athletes to the series, or do you guys still just kind of let it happen organically?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've already kind of started reaching out to people that we would love to participate in the series throughout the year. If you are one of those people and I haven't reached out to you yet, please just shoot me a message.
Here's your sign.
Danny, you're going to be in New Hampshire anyways, pal.
I know. I'm like, I just need to just bring a van out and just sleep out there for 6 weeks and knock a bunch off my list.
Weekend. It's 5 days later.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah.
A lot of people did it last year. They did Sunapee and then went straight to Canada.
Yeah. And they're very comparable too, which that is something I do want to point out. As an athlete who really stayed in that mountain classic discipline for a long time. And again, if you're a newer participant to trail running, we can't recommend it more. Like, you don't have to run far to call yourself a trail runner. Like, you really don't. Like, it's more than anything like picking something that you can do safely and have a good time, and these races are great for that. And it's just so freaking cool that you guys just keep adding races, because this was like my dream a couple years ago before I really started focusing on like the 50K distance, is to have more options out there. But to further kind of like hammer on the nail, like, what would you say is the most kind of like, what makes Cirque series culturally different from other series like Golden Trail or Skyrunner? Like, what sets Cirque series apart in your guys' opinion? And I'd love to hear from both of you. Steve, you can go first.
Well, I guess I should preface this by saying I haven't attended a Golden Trail series event, so it's hard for me to speak to the culture that they've created. I hear from professionals what that culture looks like. I listen to media and all those sorts of things. But I mean, I think for us, it's just that like there's this aspect of engagement with each other, regardless of where you stand within the sport, whether it is your first trail race or whether you're a professional. We frequently see both demographics, if you will, engaging with each other at the finish line and talking to each other and hanging out. There is no elitism or better than thou, or I'm in a league of my own over here. Like it's just very much everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody ran the exact same course. It's not really, I mean, obviously we celebrate professionals for competing at a really high level, but we're all out here doing the same thing and everybody should be celebrated equally. And I feel like that's something that is pretty unique to us, our culture. And I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, it's a party. I haven't been to many other events, whether that's Golden Trail or just any events in general that have a party atmosphere like we do at the finish line. And I think that's pretty remarkable. So.
Yeah, I went to my first Cirque Series race 2 summers ago when you guys hosted the qualifier. No, it was just the U.S. Championship at Snowbird, I think. And I would agree. Like, I've never been to a finish line area that I like wanted to hang out at. Usually, it's like, let's go find somewhere to, like get a beer. But instead, like we were, I think, at that finish line for probably 3 hours. It was awesome.
You had a great race, MK.
Yeah, I know. I need to come back. I honestly, like, the more we're talking about this, Danny's, over here scheming. I'm also like, wow, Cirque Series could be a really good way to come back into like the sport post injury and post baby. But something that I want to point out that I think makes you guys really different is the distance of your races. Like, having a 7-mile race option instead of like, a 25 to 30K option is so cool. Like we talked about at the top of the episode, just like way more approachable. To be like, yes, it might take you 2 hours, but a 7-mile race is way less intimidating than a 15-mile race.
It feels different. I think when you're at that starting line, there's less stress. And I don't know why that is. It's just the vibe that's there. I would equate it to a pickup game. You know what I mean? It's like a pickup race. And so you're loose. You feel like everybody is just there for a good time. You can be super competitive, but it just has a loose feeling to it where nobody's stressing. There's not, there's just not that stressful vibe. It's just way more relaxed.
No, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, probably with the distance. And also, I think there's a sense of security that comes with the fact that some of your courses are on resorts, and people naturally, they kind of know how resorts operate, and they know that if, God forbid, anything were to happen, and even on your other courses, this is probably true as well, but like they're going to be taken care of, and they're going to be okay. And so I think that comes with the territory as well. Okay, so kind of this is like the second half of the podcast. Obviously, we are announcing the addition of 2 new mega just exciting races with that of Mount Baldy and J Peak. But we'd kind of love to hear like each of you will go through each race for folks that this is their first time hearing about Cirque Series, and what makes that race particularly just something special of why people should go out to that race specifically. So we'll kind of do a little bit back and forth, but let's start with on June 13th, Cannon. I think, Tom, this is in your hood, so if you want to give that one a little bit of love.
Yeah, I mean, Cannon, like I said before, on a great trail system on the way up, the Kinsman Trail, super technical. On the down, it's not terrible. It's easy easy. It's okay to descend, but it's at an old school resort. It's not a frilly resort like something like Killington, where Killington's super modern. Cannon is an old school with a tram. Yeah, it is. It's like getting sent back to 1980, and yeah, it's got that old school feel.
Love that. And for those folks who are interested, Sunapee Scramble is the week before, like Tom said. So you can do a double hitter, potentially even a triple hitter. Because then next you have Killington on June 27th. Well, yeah, you could stay just on the New England for all of June. But Steve would love to hear. Yeah.
Kemi, Prezi, Traverse,
Yeah.
and then go to Killington.
There you go. Do you have any other notes on Killington, Steve?
It's a great course, extremely fast, very, very fast. Doesn't mean that the terrain isn't varied. There's sections of that course where there's a short section where I'm pretty sure the grade has got to be like, 35% before you reach the summit, Tom?
Yeah, I think it's more. I think it's in the 40s. It's gnarly.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Hands and knees, kind of burly. It's short. It's probably a quarter mile, if that. Probably even shorter than a quarter mile, but it's awesome. The summit is great. And then at the very end, you got a bit of an ass kicker of a hill just to make fun of you, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure why Tom decided to throw that in there, but it's awesome. That course is fast. I think for context, I'm pretty sure. So Dan Kurtz won last year, and he ran a 5K in like 14:09 or something like that on the descent. So
In the race?
in the race,
Holy cow.
yeah,
That hill is quick.
it's really, really fast.
We do have to preface for our audience, Dan Kurtz, in my opinion, is one of the best downhillers North America has to offer. So, take that also into consideration. But that is absolutely booking, especially on trail. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is fast. But big fan of the course. It's awesome.
Nice. And then a couple weeks later, we have, I think, one of the OGs, correct me if I'm wrong, in Alta. And I believe that is on July 11th. Since you're out in Utah, Steve, give that one some love.
Yeah, so Snowbird's actually July 11th. But
Sorry.
also,
Yes.
Yeah, also an OG. Yeah, Snowbird is actually our longest course. We're getting close to 10 miles on that course. It's pretty burly, typically pretty hot that time of the year, blazing sun. But the course itself is incredible. You get to summit Hidden Peak and Mount Baldy. There's a really technical descent coming off the backside of Mount Baldy into Mineral Basin, and and then it's just fire roads all the way down.
And a tunnel. You get to run through the mountain.
You get to run through the mountain. Pretty cool. On the ascent too, you get sweeping views of the Cirque and Snowbird, and also just of the entire Wasatch Range. You're probably grinding a bit too hard to appreciate some of the summits off in the distance, like Fiverhorn. You'll occasionally see that in some of the pictures that we promote for that event. But just a mega classic. It's gorgeous.
And then next on the schedule is, in my head, like the most gnarly of these races, but I also haven't been to the ones on the East Coast, so, maybe that's offensive to say, is Alyeska on July 25th. Tell us about that one.
Alyeska is definitely the most technical out of all of them.
Yeah, Tom got to run Alyeska last year. What would you say about it?
Yeah, it's like running on Mars. It has a run the rut feel, and then put snow in it. It's that technical. That's really sharp shale. It's crazy. The views are unbelievable. Yeah, Alaska was a blast.
And it seems to have the Mount Marathon vibe of like everybody's shirtless for some reason, even though it's not
Yeah,
necessarily like that form.
shirtless and wearing gloves so that if they fall, they don't cut their hands.
But
Yeah.
their whole body just takes the brunt of it.
I
No,
mean, the course is 6 miles, and you have 4,000 feet of elevation gain in that 6 miles. So, I mean, that's a pretty stout ratio right there.
There is a section where you have to glissade down on your bum, which was insane.
You love
absolutely
to
love
go
it.
stay down. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, technically, you could go out for Mount Marathon and then hang out in Alaska for a month. And something I wanted to point out about Snowbird as well. Obviously, it's a different series, but to me, your Snowbird on July 11th just seems like the perfect tune-up for the Snowbird by Carl Metzler, also within the same area with the dates and everything. So if people are trying to figure out like where can I fit Cirque series in, like these are just some ideas to get your brain juices a flowing. Next up, August 15th, we actually have Alta now. Back to you, Steve, in Utah. What would you say? Like, how does this differ from Snowbird?
Yeah, it's a little less demanding. It's not as long of a course, and there's also, I think it's about 1,300 feet less climbing on this course, but that's not to say that it doesn't have technical components. As you come up Mount Baldy from the east shoulder, there's a little bit of scrambling that's involved there, and the descent is quite wicked. It's very steep. And some loose rock. I mean, it's really cool. It's fun to see people through there ripping it, and however they would define ripping it. But yeah, it's awesome. Super cool course. For context, I think some of our elite men are finishing Snowbird in just over an hour and 20 minutes, and at Alta we are typically under an hour. So it is a little bit shorter.
And then we venture up to Wyoming for Targhee. So tell us a little bit about that one.
Yeah, Targhee has got to be one of the most underrated races in our series, I think. You have sweeping views of the Tetons for the majority of the race. What I consider to be probably the most iconic mountain range in North America. It's pretty cool to be able to race in the shadow of the Grand Teton. The course itself is really fast. You're on service roads just before reaching the first summit, Peaked Peak. Or sorry, it's Mary's Nipple. Incredible name for a summit within a ski resort. And from there you go to Peaked. So you get two prominent peaks on that course, and then the descent is, you have quite a bit of really flowy single track. I mean, they're trails that are made for mountain biking for the most part, so that typically lends itself to really, really fast running, not a ton of quad busting, 30% downhill grade. But if that's your cup of tea, then come on out and check it out. It's pretty sweet. In my opinion, one of the best races in our series. So.
That's super cool. Yeah, it's definitely one that's on my bucket list too, is just to try and race more in Wyoming. And then that was a new addition last year or 2 years ago.
Targhee has been around, I want to say, since like, is it 2021?
Okay, stop listening to my timeline because my brain is just all mushed together, guys.
Years hasn't existed, I feel like, for Danny and I.
Been injured. Awesome. Okay, now moving to September, which is pretty cool. You guys have basically 2 races per month through the summer, June, July, August, and then ending with 3 in September. We have A Basin, which I've had the opportunity to race that one. What I liked about it personally is like the travel was super easy. Like once you land in Denver, you get going through the corridor, it comes up super fast, which I liked. But Tom, would you be able to speak to A Basin on September 5th?
I cannot. I've never run it.
Oh. The vibes are great, guys. I'll just fill this one in. Yeah, it's a good climb, fun descent, kind of flowy, semi-technical, I would say. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. And it's high altitude, which a lot of these races are. We'll move on.
It's probably one of our more runnable courses.
Yes.
if you can run at 12,000 feet.
Yeah. If you don't put yourself in a lactic hole at the summit, then yes, you could run down fairly fast,
Like
which
the
is great.
descent is always ripping there.
Yeah. And also just it's I think it's always great competition for those who are interested in that because of its location to Boulder. A lot of those folks, just all the Colorado crushers from that whole side, tend to show up there, which is pretty cool. Two out on September 19th, we have Crystal. Tom, can you speak to that one?
Can't speak on that one either.
Okay. Steve?
Yeah, so Crystal was an addition last year. We are so excited to be in the Pacific Northwest now. That course is incredible. You are again in the shadow of an iconic summit, Mount Rainier. As soon as you crest the ridgeline, you get just an incredible view of Rainier for about a mile on the course. And then the descent, again, is pretty similar actually to A Basin in that the grade is not super steep, but it's really, really flowy, super fast. And I mean, the coolest part about that course, I think, in my opinion, is as you're ascending, it's kind of open, feels very mountainy, and then you get up on the top, and again, there's sweeping views of not only Rainier, but just kind of the Cascades in general. I think there's 4 or 5 different volcanoes to the south that you can see. But then you get into the trees, and it's just like the classic PNW vibes where it's dark, it's forested, there's ferns, it's very shady. I don't know, it's awesome. So.
Yeah, I have some friends up in Seattle who are trying to get into trail running, and I just texted them this race like 2 days ago, and they're thinking about signing up now. So, I mean, that area of the world is just gorgeous. So why not? And then we have the 2 new races, so we won't even like give Cliff Notes versions of those because neither of you have run these races. But yeah, September 26th.
Hey, wait. I did the course.
I guess, okay. Okay, you give us Cliff Notes. So we got September 26th, Jay Peak, Tom Hooper, and then Steve can give us the October 3rd Mount Baldy rundown.
No, we've already talked about it enough. But you brought up a good point about the Colorado Crushers. I'm interested to see what happens with Jay Peak because there's a lot of unknown Canadians that I think will come down out of Montreal and Quebec out of it, and come down and just hammer this course. So that will be kind of the unknown for JP.
Well, and I think that, I mean, this is the perfect year to expand because I'm sure, like, nobody did this on purpose this year, but, like, there's no Golden Trail in the U.S. this year, and I think that leaves a big hole for a lot of athletes. So to have 10 opportunities to run sub-ultra races here in the U.S., I think you guys have a great opportunity to expand this, like, even more than you probably planned in the beginning.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. We'll see.
We'll keep hyping it up at least.
Well, thanks. We appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, last but not least, like MK said, on October 3rd, we have Mount Baldy, which we've given a lot of love to. But yeah, I would say as a calendar as a whole, I hope you guys were taking notes. Thanks so much for giving a little bit of color to each of those races, and be sure to check them out. And what I think I'm personally most excited, kind of adding on to what Tom was saying, is just like being exposed to more talent and folks in different areas, especially on the East Coast. Like, we always call it the Beast Coast. A lot of us West Coasters are even scared to go there because it's so scary. Those trails are so hard. But I'm really excited to just see a lot of those younger talents that we've seen over the years, show up at like Loon Mountain and Centipede, but giving them more opportunities on these platforms to kind of just throw their name in the game, which is really exciting. Tom and Steve, thanks so much. We're super excited about the 2 new additions. Now you all have 10 races in Cirque Series. Just kind of closing thoughts, like, why should people put Cirque Series on their calendar? Tom, we'll start with you.
Have fun. Like all week, every weekend, you can do something that's fun. Like this is just a great lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I'd echo what Tom says. At the end of the day, that's kind of our whole purpose of putting these things on, is just because it's fun. whether you are competing at the highest level in the sport, or you're somebody who's just getting introduced to trail running. This space is for everybody, and it's just a blast. So
Definitely. And also, you yourself don't have to sign up. Convince somebody else to sign up and just show up for the post-race party. Like, that's, there's tons of vibes there, great vendors, etc.
Defending MK right there.
Yeah.
I just told two of my friends they have to
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'll have to make it up to Crystal.
I love it. Well, Tom, Steve, thanks so much for joining us today. And yeah, just excited to see Cirque Series kick off this year.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. This has been the Sub Pub Podcast.